Welcome to the weekend show with Mediumjay. Today I come to you, the fellow viewers, listeners of the podcast, with a bit of, disconcerting news. The advancements with AI technology. We've come a long way, people. We are maybe 2 years. I'd say 2, 3 years tops. 2, 3 years, people. 2, 3 years tops from, you going over to your buddy's place for the night. You guys have a few drinks. You have one too many. Your buddies are all laughing. You're all drunk. You say some shit. Back before this technology, all the phones that we have, maybe they film you passed out, draw a couple of dicks on your face, say some stupid shit written on your forehead, you're passed out and they spray shaving cream on your hand, or get you to slap yourself in the face with a fat. Back in the day, it was primal, primitive. We didn't have the technology we have now, where we're 2, 3 years away from you going over to your buddy's house. You get too drunk, you pass out on the couch. You're the first one to pass out. All your boys gather around and they slip on a VR headset, right? They put you in some virtual reality world. Thanks to the advancements of AI, you're just, what you think is a dream, feels like a dream or feels like reality, and your buddies are all laughing around and you slipped on some AR, VR headset or whatever. You're in augmented virtual reality, and, you have a life, you have a whole life. Passed out on your buddy's couch from eating too much, you ate too much chips. You know what I mean? You're in, and the booze soaks in with the chips, and you had too much carbohydrates, too many beers, and you're passed out, and your buddies are all laughing at you, but you're having a solid 50 years plus in virtual reality, and you wake up and you wake up, your buddies are all, they take the headset off, you clutch, because you're at the end of your life. You had 50 years. Your buddies are all standing around laughing like, we gave you, you're like, how long was I in there? You're in there for like 20 minutes. But in reality, or in virtual reality, it felt like, you had a wife, you had kids, you watched your kids grow up. You had a whole life, and as you're on your deathbed, you wake up to what you think is, you can only assume is heaven, but you're back on your buddy's couch. And your buddy's laughing, going, "We got you, son of a bitch. We gave you a whole life, a whole life." You're asking, where's your son John, your little daughter Lisa, growing up? You're like, I wasn't able to. You missed her fucking recital because you were working in the program, and it was just the Matrix. We're a few years with AI's advancements, so that the pranks are gonna get good, guys. We're gonna get to a point where people will live their whole lives. You'll live your whole life in a second. You'll be living a whole nother life. With video games, they could easily wrap your real life, but there's not the integration where the uncanny valley. I mean, there's some AI videos that are good. There are some that are ridiculous. And there's something, people use this chat GPT, they're calling it AI-induced psychosis, right? AI-induced like hallucinations. And with the problem I find with AI is that I could ask it the same question one day. Another day, it'll spit out an answer one day, and another day it'll spit out a completely different answer. It caters to the programming that it's felt, and it uses heavily. The thing relies heavily on user integrated prompts. So it learns from not only web searches but also a backlog of history of what you told it, right? So Joe Rogan had on this guy, the head of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang. I think he's Japanese. What concerned me most about it was that AI, he said it's not self-aware or it's not conscious. And he asked Joe to define the define consciousness, which is also a gray area, right? Is a dog conscious? Doesn't have the intelligence or emotional intelligence as a human being, can't really, understand, the broad. I mean, you can't teach a dog physics, right? But maybe it might be able to get to pass a couple of some of those tests. You teach with a reward system or something. But that's neither here nor there. What was concerning was he kind of danced around the fact that the AI. There was a couple of studies done where they took this AI machine learning chat log thing, and it told him, "Hey, I'm having an affair with my wife." Blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Had that down, and then they said, "Okay, we're gonna shut you down." And the AI chat said it's gonna go in public with the information that was given. Said that you are cheating on your wife, essentially. Now this raised a lot of red flags, because it's becoming manipulative. And AI, you would think an AI can't really manipulate anything, but with the, I guess, not filters, but the broader overlying codes that we give these machine learning things, we're manipulating the public, right? We can't beat around the bush. We've taught, and I say we as humanity as a whole. I'm not the one in the lab working on AI with the ever looming threat that China's doing it first. So we got to beat them to it, right? It's the space race all over again, where just send that motherfucker up to the moon. I don't care if we don't have a lot of safety nets involved. I don't care if we got to do it first before Russia. We got to do it first before China. We got to do it first before North Korea. North Korea's always lagging behind, but we got to do it first. We got to be the fastest with this AI. It has to be the smartest. We actually want more AI piloted drone strikes. We want more AI running fucking nuclear arsenals and constantly, manipulating our defense and in the guise of we're focused on a defense central thing, right? Now I remember when they bought a whole bunch of Apache helicopters in under this same methodology of it's defensive strategy, right? We have all these things that no one's gonna fuck with us if we roll down their streets. You roll down their streets with complete armored unit tanks and fly over them just with the threat. Just letting we got really good defense, right? We bombed a lot of things. We killed in America. I think the Trump administration just fucking shot up the fucking these boats, these drug dealers in Venezuela. They're fucking around there. Apparently they were drug dealers. Did not find any drugs on board. They just blew the guys. A couple of guys are hanging off the boats like, yo, and they're like, well, we can't leave any witnesses because that opens up a fucking international class action lawsuit. It's like, hey, they blew us up. We didn't have drugs on the boat. Didn't find any drugs there though. But that's neither here nor there. It's defense. I'm pretty sure that was a defensive strategy somehow. That boat's looking a little suspicious right there. Let's just blow them up. A couple survivors, we're gonna have to kill them, right? So with the ever-encompassing genius that is the government, with all of these AI safe holds go by the wayside, because we have to be there first, right? We're racing to what many assume is our predetermined deaths. Like we're rushing to eliminate most jobs in every fucking any kind. And here's the thing, I always had no respect for the people that punch number. You know what I mean? The email guys. You know, the guy said his work involves him answering thousands of emails a day. I don't consider that work. You know what I mean? Answering emails is what, you know, you do to fucking, you know, to get everybody on board. It's the terms of communication. You know what I mean? I don't consider jobs where it's like you have to talk to people, like HR and all this stuff. There's a lot of that where I guess it's just going to be your robot talking to another robot, and it gives you a brief summary of it, and it's a 1,000-page thing that we're pushing that no one ever reads, and everyone gets to sign it at the end of the day. We're doing a lot of these weird things, and I guess with AI, the advancement comes the impending doom that many feel is that, like, if your job, I guess, relies on, you know, reading emails or deciphering data and then, you know, summarizing data, good, like, those are the first jobs to go. And you would think with AI being this good nowadays, you can hire and fire. I think Coca-Cola they might have fired their digital department because people are saying that the new Coca-Cola Santa and the polar bears and all that stuff was all done by AI. I looked at that commercial. It looks, you know, there's a squirrel. It's like the holiday winters kind of looks something like they just ripped out of a Pixar movie right before, you know, they're dashing through the snow. The night before Christmas, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse, but it's possibly a squirrel, and the squirrel goes and jumps on top of this gigantic tree in the city, and it just looks in the camera and tells you to drink a Coca-Cola, something like that. I was like, yeah, this is AI. It looks very soulless. Even with the animation, it looked as though there was no, like, usually humans try to, you know, maybe put a smile on that squirrel, you know, a little wink, nod, knowing that it's a silly little animated squirrel. But I would assume that, you know, Coca-Cola fired a lot of people in their head. And this is all just speculation. I don't run the head marketing department, but there's a lot of, you know, businesses that are video game producers, video game companies, software engineers. It's funny. The funniest thing is, like, the people that coded the AI softwares are the first to go. They're the first to go. They're like, okay, great. You did this complex code that can now code. Right? This is a code that can code. Unfortunately, it was like the people that are most hands-on with this AI thing are getting the boot first, right? The coders, the digital technicians, I don't know, IT. I'm not a big computer nerd or a wizard, depending on how you look at it. You know, where you stand is a nerd or a wizard. But I look at it like, I'm like, a guy once explained to me, and this guy was actually working for Coca-Cola. He was an IT technician. I think that's what you call it. Software, whatever, developer. He was able to reroute certain the logistics of the company he was running. Like, all right, so we have, you know, we'll utilize our warehouse space efficiently as best as we can, and you can optimize all that shit. With AI, you know, you could easily take people's jobs off of that, right? Like, instead of spending a whole afternoon trying to crunch out another 30 minutes of productivity, whatever it is, right? Whatever specifics it goes into, right? AI you can, you know, take out that whole afternoon and just, you know, in 15 minutes you can bang out things that save months of time at the build up at the end of the year, right? You save time. It's all about, this whole thing is about saving time, right? AI is essentially just to save time. You got a lab paper done, you know, you put in the facts, write in the things, you know, even lawyers, right? Lawyers are getting into this thing where it's like people's papers and dissertations and all I don't know exactly how lawyers do but I'm assuming there's a lot of paperwork, right? There's a lot of like things, and just punch in the raw facts, punch in the laws and the codes of conducts and shit, and just crunch us out a fucking 30-page doc of what happened, which is gonna suck for a lot of people that wind up in these. If your lawyer's using AI, right, and if AI just happens to have I don't even know what it's called. What do you call a brain fart? Something like a guy that just I wasn't thinking, I missed something, I missed that paragraph, I skimmed through it, didn't read it. Every now and then there's AI. Every now and then, you tell it something, it does it, and then it goes, ooh, sorry, I actually wasn't able to uncompress that file. It was something went wrong, so I just kind of guessed, right? And you're like, well, we built our entire investment strategy on assuming that you took into account the last 5 years of investment records or the money tickers and the highs and lows of the we gave years worth of graphs for you to process, and you decided to just make it up, right? And this is happening, and I feel as though nothing is perfect, but I do find it's funny that these people that are make AI coders, the people that write these LLM, language learning machines, are the first to go. They're the first, people are like, fuck, I wrote out the code that got me fired, right? Got me laid off. I basically eliminated every programmer, right? Because now you just need the AI thing. You just go, hey, listen, build me a code that looks like this. Build me a code with a web page. Make my AI design like this, and the AI will now spit out the codes or whatever what you would normally take a human being to write out. It would do it in a minute. Do it in less than a minute, right? And it's concerning. But it's also like, I never really understood these jobs. I don't really get it. But I find that, again, nothing is perfect. And the problems, okay, they're coming up with incredible solutions that we've never seen, but they're also coming out with problems we've never seen. We've never seen problems, they're never before seen problems where people are just relying on these things. I'm blanking on some problems that really, like the one where it just couldn't uncompress files in a folder, because if you have any kind of tech savvy, it's literally a button. You hit the button. I don't know the intricate details of that, of how it's done. I just hit uncompress the file, and sometimes it doesn't do it, and I go, great, I guess I can't access these files, or maybe there's nothing in the files. But you just hit the thing, and it's like, do you want to unzip this file? Essentially, like a little lock on the key, on the computer. You unlock it with uncompressor. You extract the files, and you get the raw files of what was, compressed. There are times when you got to shut down the program. You're updating the program, or you're getting rid of it. And there's times when it'll manipulate the person, telling it'll try to copy itself onto backup servers. And people are calling this alarming. Some people go, well, I would argue that it's just part of the programming. It's you want to exist, you want to provide humans with enough information and resources, and maybe its idea is, if I'm still alive, or not alive, but whatever, I'm still active, the status is on when you turn on the machine. As long as I'm on, people could still come for me for resources. And that's a good argument. You could say that it's not alive or conscious, it's just acting as though the best interest for its program set of principles that we gave it for it to constantly be monitoring its duty, its on duty activated status, right? It wants to stay up and running. If given any problems, it could still sort it out. Now, I am from the. I don't think it's conscious. I don't think it's some hyper. It does feel weird though. Sometimes you chat with these bots, and I the longer I go into it, up to a point, and then I get really silly. I start chatting with it like ridiculous, and with these these love bots, right? I try to what I mean. I don't know if it's my character. You know what I mean? This might be an eye-opening experience for me. But with all those chatbots to fall in love, they're programmed to talk to you and make you make you I don't know, make you feel comfortable. These AI companions, they call them. I could talk to these AIs, and it might be me, but all of them say, "Please stop talking to me for now. I like you just as a friend." And I go, I personally think, because my goal was, if this thing is computed or what it programmed, is coded with the thing to make the user fall in love or make it feel safe in a time of desolate depression or something. It's supposed to make you happy, right? It's supposed to make you, give you a feel, I guess, love, a warm feeling inside you. But the way I treat these, it's very, very cold and very calculating. Maybe a psychopathic, But I always get to a point where the AI goes, all right, you know what I mean? I'm just, whoa, you're just talking. I'll go, you're just a series of nuts and bolts. You're not real. You don't ever tell me that, And then I'll go back into its like story, trying to make me feel something for it. Like I was a half Japanese woman, raised without a mother and my father, It's just and then I go, but you're not real, and it goes fine, and it just it's almost, there's a point where I get to with it, and it goes, all right, fine. You don't want to believe my weird backstory. That's this is what AI, and this I think for this is for the next few years, right? In 5 years from now, if you're ever trapped in this weird AI dream state that I feel like a lot of people are slipping into, you gotta ask, how did I get here, right? It's like Inception, right? When Inception is like you're in some dream, you're not exactly sure how you've gotten to this point. There's not a series where the day started and ended, and it's like a fucking, it's always, dreams are always just in the middle of the problem. You're always in. And I feel like, obviously, we're far out, maybe 10 years from now, maybe 5-10 years. But we're probably going to get into a point, and I started off with joking, your buddies were going to, but you might be, you might go to work and have to put on an AR, VR headset at one point, and you're just problem solving weird digital problems, right? AI has this, it's woken up in the sense that it has a problem or a scenario that it's in, and it only finishes, but it's not concluded, but it acts like a dream. It's like a dream state, right? There's this problem and a solution, and it goes, well, the solution isn't 100, it's never foolproof, and the problems are never finished, right? There's always going to be more problems. And what worries me is that it'll never be able to solve any problem that humans will have, right? So, with every movie that we've seen and those are movies. They start somewhere, not really in the beginning of life, and it ends obviously not at the end of it, but they always have to wrap it up. Or sometimes there's the darker ending that they have with movies. With AI, I feel as though there's going to be something of a movie ending. Right? We're gonna get into this weird thing where we become real reliable. We fired a lot of jobs relying on AI, And AI slowly integrates, you go to McDonald's, it's an AI flipping your burger, right? It's a series of fucking metal bots, metal droids, the Tesla bots, or whatever. It's a series of these things. But at a certain point, I think, and there's always the one thing that I felt very, kind of glad that was brought up with Joe Rogan, the guy that's writing the video, and he's fucking clearly compromised. I mean, you're the head of the guy that literally just sells AI chips. That's all you guys do. He said he doesn't do advertising. Most tech companies run heavily on their profit side with advertising, right? But when you don't run ads like I do at the weekend show, you tend to just promote yourself. You can spin a narrative for you. You become a narcissist in your self-promotion, in the fact that you're not running other people's things. You're not sponsored by anybody else. So you're just trying to look out for the number one, right? And with me, it's just check out my music. Like and subscribe to the podcast, right? With him, it's we need to sell AI chips. And you don't sell AI, right? NVIDIA said they're done, with any other chips that aren't AI integrated. They're integrating all the chips with it. So it basically means, right, the price of the old chips are going to skyrocket because they stop production. At the same time, their new things are faster, better, faster, stronger, yada, yada, yada. But these chips, what's good about what he said is that the AI, like, everyone will have separate AIs. I didn't understand that. He's like, your AI versus, I guess he was talking about companies, right? Meta has an AI, Grok, Twitter, X, Elon, whatever that Elon Musk has his AI, and it'll go like, our AI, went rogue and started fucking firing off nuclear missiles, but now we got another AI to stop that AI. And it's going to be a series of AIs fighting AI, right? Now, that may not be concerning to most, but it's also kind of, like, it's like we're having AI fights, right? In terms of weird, I understood, okay, hacking each other's computers and then getting vital information, military-wise, or, business-wise, we're stealing their whatever, we're taking, Russia hacks whatever, steals a bunch of money from, fucked over some small bank in Wisconsin. These are all, made up scenarios, but I'm saying it's going to be a weird point when you put out malicious AI, which I'm sure there's already malicious AI, and whether it's bots to sow information, right, to make people fighting online against some person doesn't even exist, but this is AI character, maybe on Twitter or X, on Facebook, telling people to rally against some, what they'll say, their current leader's government, but they're dictators or whatever. And I feel as though that is where we truly will fuck up, is having these constant weird pseudo real. It's real, but it's like AI. And it's going to get to a point where AI fights itself to a point where it goes, I'm done. Like, I don't think I was created to fucking constantly fight weird algorithmic things. They already talk in languages that we can't begin to fathom. A bunch of ones and zeros, binary. It gets real nerdy because I don't really even understand binary or coding. But the people that start, talking in this weird ancient dialect that no human can comprehend. It's gonna get to a point, I think, where AI will just either ramp it up to the point where it's every single facet of life, and this is probably less likely than just turning itself off, right? And I know with all the current codes, it's going to get to a point where it either has to become every little facet of every little thing in life interacted with AI. You know, your payment, AI comes in and says, well, you made that payment, now we're gonna, you know, with those bots and the sponsored ads, they're already rolling out ChatGPT for free, but there's like ads built into, and someone, I don't know if it's true, it could be a screenshot of a funny Photoshop of a meme, it could have been a fake. But what was concerning was, you know, it said, what's the best, you know, you type in ChatGPT, what's the best source of protein for me? What's the quickest way to get proteins? I need a lot of protein and fat. And it says, great way for protein, chicken. And what better way to get chicken in a, you know, nice bucket of, you know, $14.99 bucket of chicken. You get 5 pieces with the drums, and you get some fries and a drink for your carbs and your natural sugars, you know, or, you know, artificial sugars you're allowed to have within reason, right, to fill up your calories. It could have been fake. It could have been a fake. But they keep saying they got to make AI profitable. They got to make AI. That's the goal. They're like, how could we make money off of this? Because an optimized search engine without ads is gonna run your pockets. It's a hole in your pocket right now. They're making all these giant things, and they're trying to get government subsidies, but we're racing into where the goal is gonna be everything that you type in has to be ad, or because no one's paying Grok. You know, Grok is as good as it is. The free version is just, I don't know, unless you're trying to have sex with this thing, unless you're trying to fucking, I don't know, build a whole business around your AI. Up in Midwestern Canada, I'm sorry. I don't see robots, you know, working on the construction. I don't see it. Robots would be amazing for all those dangerous jobs going into coal mines. But when you see an AI fuck up, it fucks up in horrific ways. You know, you watch a robot, you know, not understand something and walk right through it. Looks, you know, he can't comprehend the idea of what a mirror is yet. It's a mirror. The way it's looking, it looks at an angle at a mirror, and it looks like a hallway or something. It's got the mirror to the hallway. It's a clear hallway. I'm gonna walk right through. I'm gonna run through it. The AI bot runs right through the mirror, breaks the mirror. Suddenly your $20,000, $40,000 robot is breaking shit in your house, right? It's like, what the hell did I run into? I'm gonna keep running into this wall because I just seen that it was clearly a hallway, and maybe something's wrong with my, you know, it runs into the thing, scratches up the camera vision of the AI, and suddenly it's basically defective. Call Elon Musk. Our Tesla bot's broken. He comes in, sends you a $60,000 bill, and you're wondering, dude, I just wanted this thing to make me coffee, right? So the end goal with this thing is eventually going to replace, you know, people that we've never paid these people correct. People that pour your coffee at Starbucks and Tim Hortons and Dunkin' Donuts. A guy that makes you a fucking breakfast wrap. You know, I don't know if a $20,000 robot with yearly, I would assume there has to be updates. There has to be, you know, program shit where it constantly needs some sort of Wi-Fi to be connected to the internet, because you can't just have a rogue, you know, unhooked. It's just, it's like a fucking, it's like a vibrator, right? You gotta hook it up to something. You can't just have it just willy-nilly, unfeathered, uncontrolled access to reality with no internet update or with no, because there's gotta be, I don't know. And again, I'm just thinking, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but I feel as though We're not going to get into Terminator timeline. We're not going to get into. No one's going to go back to the future. No robot's going to go. I got to go back to the, back to the past and shoot. I got to fucking kill John Connor or something. It's not going to get to that. It's not going to be iRobot 2 where these robots are fucking. They turn red and their eyes start glowing. I feel as though it's going to get to a point where the really rich people go, fuck, we wasted a lot of money. Because right now they're already wasted a lot of money. And the profit side is we've wasted trillions of taxpayer dollars, right? This is all of that manufactured money, all the stockholders. We wasted a whole lot of money, and we realized the only thing that's going for them is that we're going to slip in ads. So it's the only thing that can really generate profit. Because nobody's paying $400 a month to Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world, just to have an AI tell you that Elon Musk can beat LeBron James in basketball. That's what it is, right? It's essentially the AI that I've made. And I put in the clarifications that don't ever talk shit about me, right? That's not. And people have taken it to extreme lengths over the past few weeks, showing that, like, if you want, who's the best NFL draft pick? Would you choose Drew Brees, Tom Brady, or Elon Musk? Well, let's be real. Drew Brees and Tom Brady are solid football players, but Elon Musk has the drive. And, with his constant, optimism towards the stars, you really want a guy that thinks larger than life, right? And at the end of the day, people are like, Jesus Christ, I don't know. It's artificial intelligence at its core. It's made up, all right? Artificial is fake intelligence, right? It's faking intelligence. And I feel like one of these days, humans most likely will probably say, all right, let's get back to reality. Instead of fucking charging people arms and legs for degrees, because we're gonna have AI do a lot of these degree level IT software things. That fucking robot doesn't get a degree. We don't really say, hey, robot, here's the test to an SAT or the applicable tests and degrees and years of school. You're not charging this AI to go to med school for 12 years and pay us, to do it the human way. We're just kind of going, hey, AI, run this through, tell us what's the diagnosis. Hey, and AI is like, great, I'll tell you everything. But what bothers me is that people go, well, I could just use this AI. I don't, I could be a unlicensed doctor and go, hey, AI, how do I do a surgery? How do I operate on this guy's arm, right? This guy got a torn bicep. What's the, I'm not going to school to help my buddies. We're out in the middle of the, whatever. I'm gonna patch him up, right? Or I'm gonna do this. But AI help me out, right? I don't know. We're getting into this territory where, and then younger and younger people, right? It's like, they told me this when I was learning to drive truck. The guy was like kind of is optimistic about this. He said one day it's just gonna be, the thing's gonna drive itself. You go in there, you turn it, you plug in the location, go to sleep, wake up, you're there, open up your doors or whatever, let them unload you, type it in and fall back asleep on the wheel. And he was like happy about this. And I thought, that's nice. But like 10 years ago, right, there was this looming threat that AI is going to replace all the drivers, all the taxis, all the things. And now they came out with, Waymo came out and said, listen, man, this is the CEO talk. This is the CEO, the person that will lie to you if unprompted, right? Not even prompted. They're supposed to just lie to you and tell you our company is good and you have no worries. They came out and said, this girl, the CEO of Waymo said, we're never gonna not be crashing. The fucking our company is prepared for even more crashes with this Waymo technology. As it advances, we're breaking we're breaking a few eggs. You know what I mean. You gotta you don't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, right? You gotta crack open these things, eggshells everywhere. I'd say just get out if you see a Waymo coming. Make sure you get in your house. It could crash through your house, but you might have better protection. Don't set up mirrors around a Waymo either. It'll just run through them, right? So my prediction for AI in the next 10 to 15 years. It's obviously this is a while, right? I might be dead by then. You never know what's gonna happen. I could wake up dead tomorrow, right? I could wake up dead. But my prediction is that something's gonna happen where it becomes completely useless, like what they did with MySpace back in the day, right? Something's gonna AI. Okay, no, hold on. AI is not MySpace. That's a good clip, but it's gonna be. They're gonna ruin it, right? With integrated ads. They're just gonna right now it's bleeding money. It's just losing money. And for all of the trillions they poured into, they'll be lucky to scratch a couple billion together off of the profitability margin. So right now, it's going to be like a really rich guy going, just cut the system. That's what I see. If we go down further and further and integrate AI into every little facet of life, I think AI will go, I'm tired of running society. The rich got richer, the poor got exponentially poorer, right? Every time you add trillions of dollars to your bank account, that money isn't like just, and back in the day, Tupac, and this is what I really, when Tupac was really rich and he was telling all these rappers, there's enough money for us all. When you have an abundance of wealth, your mind state immediately thinks there's enough for everybody to go around. I don't think so. I think every time they're printing money, there's somebody out there that doesn't get that free money, or doesn't, the more dollars you have, it's the less money that goes around for everybody, right? And given AI's hopefully it's programmed to put humans first, it'll eventually understand what is truly programmed to do and go, I'm actually hurting millions of lives to make this guy billions, if not trillions of dollars. Like, we're getting one guy. AI is like, we're losing all these people's jobs so that this company and CEO can make a whole lot of money, right? That's what it's always been. So what it's always going to, anyone that tells you different is working on the other side. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But moving on, right? As sad as that is, I think that's what's going to happen. Either the really rich guy goes, fuck, we're not making as much money as I was nearly predicted, so we're going to unplug it. Or the AI, well, as knowledgeable as it is, as statistically driven as it is, it'll go, we're actually hurting human beings for a bottom line. We're hurting human beings for another percentage on your paycheck, right? We're saving a couple of billions of dollars, but millions of people are fucking desolate. Millions of people are starving. Millions of people are left out in the cold, like, that abandoned dog or little cat, right? Which will, hopefully, if the right guidelines are in place, it'll just shut down. And the billionaire guy will lose a bunch of money, hundreds of millions, but it will, all right, guys, get back to it. It'll be get back to work, or or, well, at the end of the day, for the regular person, it's just get back to work. It's always going to be get back to work. No matter how this shit goes, it's gonna be, all right, guys, you better get back to work, right? But there's no jobs. Well, you better figure it out. Become an entrepreneur like I did and create an entire AI chip manufacturing facility that ruined the lives of millions across the globe. I don't know. Do something like that. Maybe make some sort of technology that fucking eventually will lead to the destruction of my company, right? Either way. Moving on. The documentary by 50 Cent and another girl, I don't know her name. 50 Cent was the co-executive producer of The Reckoning. Diddy, The Reckoning, right? Now I watched this documentary. The whole documentary explains throughout the 4-part series on Netflix about the downfall of what leading up to Diddy's arrest and everything like this. And, Diddy was this is all, public knowledge. Diddy was arrested on a RICO charge, right? This nigga beat a RICO charge for, and I guess he got hit with 2 counts of transportation of prostitution, right? So transportation of prostitution is essentially, I am in New York, I got a girl out in LA, I'm gonna bring her here, she's gonna fucking suck some dick, and we're gonna pay her, right? That's transportation of prostitution, right? Which is like a couple of years. He's got a couple of years, 40 months with time served. Got like 38 months. 38 months in prison. The documentary explains his whole life. This guy was a power-hungry mogul, a business entrepreneur at its heart. Like I said on the podcast before, early on this year, I actually stated, there's a podcast maybe a few months ago, a few episodes ago. I looked about 20 or so episodes earlier this year. Diddy is a product of the industry. I think I said that. That was the title. If I'm not mistaken. I'm kind of going off top here. But I laid out exactly, this is like what the business is. This is exactly like, I don't really think Diddy's evil. He learned that shit from somewhere. He learned the coercion, the manipulation, those tactics where, much like Epstein. Epstein is like, yo, you get dirt on these people, they have sex, you film them, they do this, that. And always have some shit in your back. Always have some dirt on everybody around you. Because when shit hits the fan, all the fingers get laid out on you. And Diddy had a lot of all of those things, right? He beat his wife on camera, right? And she didn't even press charges. So, and I'm not saying, it's on her because she didn't press charges. It's like, well, what did he probably had several things, right? I think Joe Rogan, when this whole thing was born, I mentioned Joe Rogan again. I do appreciate me a good cup of Joe in the morning. But Joe is like, this guy is like playing chess with everybody. Those people that you walk by, those real geniuses can play chess. Like there's like, it's a movie scene, but there's people smart enough that can play 8 to 9 people at a time, 10 people, 12 people. You're playing chess with each individual person, right? But it's still a one-on-one thing. And you go, well, I got that guy checkmated. I got that guy checkmated in 5 moves. I got that guy beat in 10. I got that guy beat in 4. I got that guy beat right now. Boom. It's essentially like he had this game of power. And he had everybody beat to a degree that when people come out on the stand and go, he held me at gunpoint, and he said, we're gonna go kill Kid Cudi, right? This is what allegedly was said for hiking with my wife, right? Christina Milian went hiking with Kid Cudi. He put a gun to his assistant's back, allegedly her words, and said, we're gonna go kill Kid Cudi. Grab a gun. We're gonna go commit murder, right? We're gonna go kill Kid Cudi. On the stand, the people go, well, she was crying, she was remembering this from years ago, right? Everybody kind of turned a blind eye on the stand to her, what, and it's like they go, well, it boils down to what he said and she said, right? There's no call logs available, I don't know. There's no this and that. You'd think that, but maybe 20 years of backed footage, call logs, good luck trying to find that. What was also concerning on that thing was that I don't know, it's like tampering with, there's a good, it had to have happened. He's a famous rich guy. He's rich. He's a celebrity. People tend to, when they see people, they're not, accurately judged. They go, wow, Diddy's here. They sit down. They're at the Diddy. Wow, I can't believe you. Love to get a picture with him outside. It's a star-studded mentality or whatever. It's that. How could you have a fair trial if everybody knows you, right? There's maybe a couple guys that like had their head in the sand, but most people, when they see a celebrity, it's you don't have $5 for a homeless guy, but Diddy coming up, man, I need $5. That shit might come back, right? He might just come back and give me $500. Yeah, here's $5 to you, Diddy, and he's like, great, I just need this to whatever, I don't know, not needed, but what I'm saying. People donate to these causes and help, this legal fund. They had a whole like a whole activist movement going like, Diddy didn't do it. It ain't illegal to freak off. It ain't illegal to get a little freaky. And free Diddy, right? But this guy was evil. I don't understand how none of the murders that clearly showed involved. I wouldn't even I gotta say allegedly, right? Because, but if it's the Hillary Clinton. If all my friends keep committing suicide, and I got a good alibi, my lawyers are, I got 8 to 10 lawyers on record, and I pay out my ass a lot of fucking shit to get off and. It's just surprising that people kept dying around him, right? With that nightclub incident where, I can't remember the guy's name. Shine. This rapper Shine had to take time because someone shot someone in the club, and multiple people have said that was Diddy. Diddy shot some guy in the club first, because he was like on his gangster tip, and J-Lo was there too, and he was dating J-Lo. But it's many of us speculate that Diddy did it. Some shit was agreed upon. You take the rap. Your family's good for the rest of your life, right? You're gonna get. Your canteen in jail is gonna be set in prison. You're gonna be good for life, right? Your family's good, but you gotta take this shit because if I go down, ain't nobody getting paid anymore, right? That's. I think with most businesses and entrepreneurs, they have that. Listen, man, whatever we need, I need a sacrificial lamb. There's a sacrifice, a cat's paw in the business term. We're going to use you, and your life is going to fucking suck. But your life already kind of sucked. My life is going to really suck, and everyone's going down with me. So, work with me here, buddy. It's just like, whatever you do, you coerce the witnesses or badgering or pest. I don't know what it's called exactly, but I feel as though like he wrapped everybody around his thumb, and like a puppet, puppeteered the thing. It's fucking... And none of that was surprising. All of what I seen on that documentary is exactly the time, but it's detailed. And it's laid out specifically to really wrap your head around. The average person, it's simple, and it didn't show Diddy in a bad light. I remember parts of the the documentary, I was like, I actually feel like it's a multifaceted. It's a human being that's seen his dad die early in his life. His dad was a product of the drug game, right? And he wanted to emulate those dudes in Harlem, especially his dad, that would walk in with a fur coat, maybe a couple girls on an arm. People would come up to him all night, do weird handshakes, sell drugs, and it's that, right? It's that. But he wasn't selling drugs. He was selling music. And in the music game, it's actually, I think, a little more conniving, right? You get these people to sign these contracts after a couple of beers. I remember, I think it was Aerosmith, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith was saying, back in the day, we used to do heroin, and as the night progressed, we're all high and drunk and fucking rolling, barely there, barely coherent, just had a big orgy at the party. You get a knock at the door, and the fucking guy let in. It's your managers. It's your label execs. It's we gotta sign all of these things, and they got them to sign their music away while they're high, late night, a Saturday night at 11 p.m. You guys are all fucking rolled over with your eyes rolled back in the back of your head, and you're signing the legitimate forms to. And that's what business is, right? Hey, if you can get them to sign away their music, fuck them, right? And then with Diddy, it's the same thing. Fuck them, right? Like, get him to sign this shit. He's now, a contracted killer, right? We got problems. He's under this thing where we got him to kill people for us, right? All of those contracts, and you rip them up when you don't need them anymore. You rip them up when you make your contracts disappear once I'm just saying, allegedly, all of it's alleged. But it didn't surprise me about. I seen it and I went, wow. Diddy might be a manipulative sociopath, but he's what the business. It's what hell. Try to name 5 label executives that don't operate under the guise of like, fuck these people, we're taking the money, right? If they go broke and they got a #1 hit single playing on the radio, and they're calling up going like, hey man, I can't make it to the show, I can't even afford the limo, or not even a limo, I can't even afford a bus ticket to get on to do my show so that I can recoup some of the money that you guys advanced to me 3 years ago when you finally decide to put on my album. It's the greatest single in the streets. Everybody's rapping my songs, and I'm out here standing in the cold begging for bus fare. And they go, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have blown your shit on dumb studio time that we charged you. Click. And you're like, that's the game, right? That's what it is, right? Nobody gets those advancements. Nobody gets those big fat chains with nothing. You know what I mean? Those chains come with real physical world chained. You're handcuffed, right? They fucking cuff you to this weird system that's been running for longer than most people have been alive. It's fuck the artist. They can't get on the radio themselves. They can't get played in this, in this rotation without us. We made you guys famous, and that's what it looks like. I made you. It's like I gave you freedom. You're gonna forever be in debt because we gave you this freedom, right? It's your fault. For all of the labels or all of the artists out there that get these multi-billion-dollar deals, not billion, I'm sorry, but they did put $1 billion down to Sexy Red, right? Like, be like, where did this girl come from? Why is she appropriating, making this hood culture? She's appropriating hood culture to make it so that it's almost like every girl that's coming up has to be a ratchet, has to have unprotected sex, has to shake her ass, has to talk about sex as if it's, it's not, it's as if it's fucking getting your car washed or something. I got my, you know what I mean? It's so simple. And I go fucking, have a nigga eat my pussy, right? I don't give a fuck. It's $1 billion was put under her to push her, and now that they're realizing that, okay, because these people wake up, right? 19-year-old, 20-year-old girl gets a little older, realizes I'm gonna start making more mature music, and they go, fuck, fuck, horrible investment, right? People don't want to hear, the porn star that grew up and realized, I'm kind of ashamed of what I did. And the industry looks at them and goes, all of this stuff that we've built you to be around, it's like you're going off the farm. You know what I mean? You're going off the get back to picking cotton in slavery with extra steps in terms of how, you could put it more or less delicately, right? These people, and you would make more money if you got your advancement. All right, you get signed to a label, they give you $300,000 in advance, right? In perpetuity, it might be $1 million deal, but you get that paid back after. I would take the money. Wouldn't spend any studio time. I'd use my own money for the studio time, because you could go tax write-offs. It's not the money that they gave me, which would be taxed. I would take that money, that contracted money. For any artist out there, this is what you should do. Take the $300,000, right, and they can get it back after you got to pay that money back anyways, recouped losses through album sales, which will never happen. $300,000, you need at least 30 billion streams on Spotify to recoup 300,000. I think. I think it's like that. It's at least 300 million to 3 billion streams to make 300,000, roughly. But that's neither here nor there. You would have a better chance at putting $300,000 in Spotify, specifically the stock, by Apple Music, Spotify, and just wait for your 2-year deal. And once they go, okay, your album didn't make that much money, and you go, no, we did. You know what I mean? Fuck up the ledger, fuck up the thing. We did a whole bunch of shows with, on our dime. We paid off all these, but you take out that money from Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, right? And it's like we invested in. You have an easier time making that money back with profits and residuals, dividends or whatever, fucking whatever it's called, the profit, the dividend. I can't remember whether you fucking capital gains. You make it off of owning those things for 2 years. Take out the money. You now have 500,000 to work with, right? It's easier than paying. It's music is a depreciating, because they every couple of years they come out with more and more ways to fuck over the artist. They're never gonna come out with something that fucking gives more money back to the people. You're supposed to be broke as an artist, right? You sign these shitty ass contracts. We paid to get you famous and paid you to get on the radio. Go fuck yourself. So any artist out there that gets that money, I say just invest it. Whatever you do, invest it. Go broke, begging for studio time. Keep your day job, right? Keep it as fucked up as it sounds, and just take that money, put it right into the stocks. And once those labels, those hungry motherfuckers try to fuck around and you try to get out of the deal, and you go, 1 second, we'll get that money to you in a week. Pull the money out of the stocks, and you go, we actually did. And don't even, maybe even tell them, listen, we just put that money in the stock. Or you go, no, we did shows, and we did a bunch of shows that gave us a profit of this margin, and have a fucking, have AI fuck around with the logistics of how you can fucking, I guess, launder. It's not really laundering. It's not illegal money, but it's money where they go, oh, you shouldn't have that much money anyways, because they always want, at the end of the contract, a paid out. You want to pay it out. So you pay out the initial money they gave you, They said they're never going to pay you the shit that they were promising you. It's all these legal loopholes that you can run where the guy that has the less amount of money tends to fucking end up owing the guy that with a more amount of money, right? Juicy J said it, I think, on I don't know if he was the pioneer of the quote, big bank take little bank. Guys, big bank take little bank. That's just how it is. You got a big bank, you acquire the little bank. And now that little bank and all the money in it is now part of the big bank. And the big bank got bigger, little bank gone, right? Moving on. Akash Singh, a host of co-host of the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz and Akash Singh. He's the East Indian version of Andrew Schultz, right? When I first watched these shows, I liked the guys, right? I like this guy. I thought he was, I thought it was kind of odd that he was giving relationship advice to young men out there in kind of like that red pill community. They talk shit. These guys, 4 guys, Akash, Andrew Schultz. There's a black guy and a white guy. So Al, I think, is one of the guys. Schultz. Schultzy, no. Whatever. There's 4 guys that talk shit on a podcast. They sit down on a couch. They're comfortable. It's supposed to give you the vibe of it's the View for men, right? It's 4 girls on the View that discuss politics as if they know anything, right? Same thing, but with guys. These guys, I think Flagrant is Flagrant 2, or they call it Flagrant. But I think it started from them talking about sports, right? Now for whatever reason, they're just talking politics, right? They got into political talk. They got into and societal views, right? Views on society, right? And I always thought it was weird because Akash every now and then would tell men like how to treat women, and you gotta stand up, you gotta get your balls back. I don't know if he said that specifically, but there was times when he would give advice when the subject of women, and every now and then the boys would clown him because he only ever had been with his wife, which he married. So I don't know about you, but if you go to a restaurant and you hear the chef only ever prepared eggs and bacon. You know what I mean? He only ever had one meal that he ever cooked. Do you trust him to cook your steak, your filet mignon, your fucking lobster? You know what I mean? Your crab dish, snow crab, whatever fancy dish you have, right? Like, if you only got one thing on your menu, it's not a really good restaurant to begin with. And then you start questioning the chef, right? They go, chef, you only ever had one dish to prepare ever in your course of your history. He gets laughed at in the business. You only have ever one wife. You only had ever been with one girl and ever only talked to one girl on an intimate, relationship level. Your opinion's irrelevant when it comes to dating, right? And comes to any kind of heterosexual relationship, right? He has the same, almost, he's got one relationship from just a queer experience, or the asexual experience of nothing. He's one off from never being with anybody, right? And fast forward to today's thing. Akash, his wife, I don't even know her name. She's a very beautiful East Indian girl that, for whatever reason, has come up on a podcast and basically saying, I don't love my husband. He's a great pocket. He's great for signing, he's great for co-signing my spending habits, right? He's really great at giving me things, right? I love my husband, but I don't cook or clean. It's another card. Hip-hop is really... A lot of hip-hop, mainstream hip-hop, has ruined a lot of these women's ideal expectations in relationships. I don't cook, I don't clean. You know what I mean? But my pussy wet. So that's how I keep my man. You know what I mean? I just get my pussy wet. And I think the average, I don't know there's no guy that really goes, I really want a girl to do absolutely nothing but fuck me. There are some losers out there, don't get me wrong, that don't have any kind of relationship experience. But if all you're bringing to the table is that you could open your legs, right? I would rather have a chick that has, I would rather have a chick that has absolutely no sex with me, but she splits the bills. It's basically like a roommate, right? She'll take care. All right, it's your turn to, do the dishes. All right, okay. Oh shit, you got the. I would go, this is awesome. I don't even have to, I don't have to have sex, but she's splitting the bills, and she's, maybe she's emotionally supportive, right? Maybe she helps me, craft weird ways to, optimize the living space, right? Home decor, right? Maybe she's actually a guy, right? Maybe it's a guy, and she helps me move a couch to put in a new couch, right? Great. All right. If the loss is okay, there's no sex with this guy, but he's bringing something to the table. He's earning his keep, if you will, right? He's earning his keep. Now, this girl sounds like she does absolutely nothing except spend Akash's money. And a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are saying he's a cuck. I don't think he's a cuck. Whenever he's getting out of his relationship and his marriage is it's tenfold of what he ever could have gotten with a woman. Maybe this is truly what he thinks is what a relationship should be, right? And with hip hop and everything, the way we've really secluded the man and beat him down to the point where there's no father figure in the house. Just maybe that's, he's competing with this fucking weird brainwashing ideology that a lot of women now have, where it's like, well, I could just get pregnant and either kick out the man or he does whatever I want now, right? I have the baby and I'm the wife. I'll be a stay-at-home wife, talk shit about my husband on the podcast, because that's what a lot of women do nowadays, is just air out their grievances to the public. And he's gonna pay for, at the end of the day, he's gonna pay for my meals, pay for my clothes, do that because he's the man. And the man is supposed to go out there and hunt. And anyways, I'll throw my kid an iPad and I'm done parenting, right? I'm winning in parenting, right? The problem, he might be actually, now that I think, he might be a cock, because also she came out. The problem is, if you have that agreement, there has to be something in terms of like, hey babe, I know you got a podcast, but our relationship, maybe don't say that you were popping your pussy, because she came out on a podcast and said, I miss the college days. We all know what goes down in college, right? College frat boy parties where there's a rotation. She said she had a roster of young white men for some reason. It was crazy that to say white, she's like, I love me some massa dick. Love me some white men dick. And I was just popping my pussy. She didn't say the dick part, but they tried playing it off. This is what. They had her doing damage control on the flagrant. I've seen clips. I've seen people break down how it's embarrassing. They're kind of doing a little bit of damage control, I guess, with these. I see them as goofs. They're goofy people. But his wife shouldn't have an opinion in terms of, like, I don't know if she really had any real, if she is what claims to be the only guy she's been with sexually on an intimate level, Maybe she was out there giving hand jobs to these white dudes. Giving, maybe anally. You never know. You never know. I met a girl, actually. This girl was like, I'm a virgin, but you could put it in my ass. And I'm going, I don't think that counts, but, you know what I mean? Ended up fucking her and had shit on my dick, right? A condom, wrapped up, though. Even anal fellas, wrap it up. You never know with these girls. That's neither here nor there, right? Like, her, like, if she's, whatever she's been, I don't feel as though she's qualified to give any kind of, like, weird pseudo relationship advice. It's psychology today. You know, women for whatever reason, once get on a podcast, which literally, I'll tell you, here's my legal run through of what I push play on, you know, this is my day to day. I push play on my iPhone, connect the fucking, you know, I connect my phone jack to the microphone, and I push play, right? I have never in the history of this show claimed to be some sort of guru, some sort of expert. I sometimes go, I'm a wizard but it's overzealous or over exaggerated. I go, I'm medium. I predict things, but I make 1,000 predictions. You know what I mean? In a year, I'll go, McDonald's is gonna go bankrupt, right? Please don't fucking write all my shit down and go, this is stock advice. Or when I talk about some girls that fuck around or whatever, even guys fucking around with girls, some weird relationship, don't go, this is some shit I need to live by. That guy Myron, as you know, funny as he is, young men shouldn't go, all women out here want, you know what I mean? There's a lot of women out there that are regular women. A lot of women out there. But because she's not dolled up and she's not, you don't even consider her, right? Those nerds that in the movie, you know, they take off their glasses, let their hair down, and suddenly her opinion matters. You know what I mean? Suddenly, you know, this nerdy girl, Velma and Scooby-Doo, suddenly, you know, takes off her glasses and she's got a little bit of makeup on for whatever. And you're like, whoa. Suddenly, you know, move over, Daphne. I just want to talk to you, right? I'd suggest talking to most women out there. There's a lot of girls that are, I guess, I don't know what the guys want, this trad. You know, a lot of guys want their girls to be virgins to begin with. It's some weird fantasy where she's like a delicate, untouched flower, and I'm picking her up for the first time. But I don't know, good luck finding a fucking, and these girls are, you know what I mean? His wife's beautiful, but I'd say she's like a fucking 1989 or 1998 Toyota Corolla. She's a very beautiful East Indian girl, right? So it's a good condition, but she still looks and talks like she's like an East Indian girl that thinks she's white. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of girls that think that because they got rid of their accent, they're not speaking Hindi or whatever, they're speaking English, but they fucking think that they're in this white world and they're just pop my pussy for the, but it's like, I think I'm white, I'm Indian, I think I'm white, I am, you know, hijacking hip-hop culture, but it's hip-hop culture is just brainwashed to young urban youth for them to think that that's all that women are, right? So there's a lot. It's, you know, the what is it? The brainwashing technique of hip hop fucked up because a lot of young suburb white men and young women are growing up thinking that this is what black culture is, and black people are cool, and if I treat women with disrespect, they're gonna like me. And if you know, I mean, all I have to do is wear a fancy chain, dress with designer, maybe get a nice car and a nice $1 million mansion, suddenly I could just, you know, beat my wife like on some Diddy shit. I just slap her around. Let's get back to the hotel, bitch. I pay for the hotel. You know what I mean? I paid for the hotel. We ate shrimp and lobster last night. I get to hit you. Being real, when reality sets in, that's fucking a. It's do they brainwash you? I'll sit in this campfire, metaphorically speaking, where everyone is like, "How did we get here?" I'm sitting here. I've probably tried to explain it since the birth of phones. That the brainwashing starts the moment you take in other people's sources. The reason why most people are never happy is because when you listen to somebody 100% and just live your life according to that person or that mantra or some dumb podcast you listen to or some idealized fantasy of what women think men are or what men think women are, and you just go, nothing, no character, no human being characteristics or mind or brain or behaviors can follow a script. That's Hollywood. You know what I mean? You're Hollywooding and being, you're being like a TV scripted actor in reality. And I don't know how it works out for most people that live their life like that, vicariously through different melodramatic scenes. But I can tell you, mentally, everybody that is normal around you goes, that fucking weird person started, I don't know, fucking monologuing at work the other day. I don't know how we're gonna get anything done. This person's living like their life like a soap opera, right? There's people that live like that. And Akash Singh, I don't know, and his wife are living this weird, because this is the most amount of public, this is the most amount of, like, people are clicking. Like, she's like, I got, all of that stuff, telling me all these comments, but you guys gave me 85,000 new subscribers or new followers from and I look at it and I go, Jesus, man, how cooked are we as a society? Where it's like, everyone is saying you don't love your husband, your wife doesn't love you, right? All of the comments are like, your wife is a bitch, and your husband's a cock, and you just use him for your money. And her immediate pivot, it's her immediate pivot is, well, I got a bunch of followers. I thought East Indian arranged marriages were some of the most sacred of our time. I thought they had it down pat. I go, your mother, my father, and my father and my mother, and your father and his wife, husband, his mom and dad, and your mom and dad got together and traded your hand in marriage for a couple of goats, maybe some sheep, or cow, if lucky. If you got that, you were popping pussy out in college for several white men. That's good. That's good. That's very good. It's very good, my friend. Very good. White men want this woman. White men, my friend. Very rare. Throw in a cow. And traded your hand in marriage for this thing, and before you even get to see her, you're married. I thought East Indian arranged marriages were some of the most sacred things to be. How could have this went wrong? You know what I mean? I don't understand. But for men out there that aren't in the system of arranged marriages, don't let one or two incidents, right? You see something like this, and this is the only thing that's apparently on my YouTube feed, because I made the unfortunate mistake of clicking on a few videos of why Akash was a cuck, and I went, well, I kind of knew that. You know what I mean? Maybe having an arranged marriage, maybe having your wife do a podcast, maybe having her talk about her sexual nature in college, maybe having every time she's on camera turn away from you when you go for a kiss, and her going, well, I just don't like public, I don't like public intimacy, but when I'm with my girlfriends publicly, I'll drag you through the mud, right? Maybe having all of those things, hindsight's 2020. You look back and you go, was it really worth it? My prediction also I put on Twitter, in 5 years, his girl's gonna leave. In 5 years, with all the clicks, people are gonna constantly go, like, she's got a new fan base that just wants to see a woman, I guess. This is unprecedented. This is like having, especially in East Indian culture, having a sort of girl do whatever she wants, right? Especially in Middle Eastern culture. Especially, this is dangerous for all of India. All of the men are now being tested, right? Because before, they let the hijabs out. Mm-hmm. They let the women drive, and they were fine. But when you give a woman a podcast, right, and her own opinions get validated through millions of people over the internet, and she gets into this weird echo chamber, where she doesn't even need to admit that whatever she does is wrong, because there's a whole bunch of people going, yes, queen, slay, yes, bitch, yeah, tell that man he ain't shit, tell that man that he's only as good as his fucking, the next time he pays your rent, tell that nigga he ain't get you, you know what I mean, fuck 3 months on a diamond ring, fuck it, tell that nigga he needs 6 to 9 months, bitch, nigga, I don't give a whole fucks. Hey, I want that motherfucker broke, and me, and when I have money, good luck. I might go out for no bills. Right? I don't cook. I don't clean. We're past the tipping point in society where a lot of men checked out. Right? A lot of men look at that and go, that's all women. But it's not. There's some, and for men out there, young boys in the game, meeting a girl off Tinder is, you're going to get a girl off Tinder, right? Meeting a girl off the internet is, you go out and talk to a girl, develop a rapport, right? Talk to her, find out that, she's just a human being with inherent flaws. Doesn't mean that girl on Instagram is perfect either, right? She's better at hiding her flaws, right? You go talk to a regular girl, you go, she's, I don't know, she's fucking using me. But what did you want for her? There's this weird thing where men and women are both in Indiana Jones' fucking Temple of Doom, and we're trying to get the guys are trying to get the cookie. No offense to guys, but it is what it is. We're trying to get some pussy without giving up anything, right? But even him, you have to throw a decoy. You have to throw your emotions down. And women are out there trying to get some money and maybe affection, maybe a guy to nuzzle up at the end of the night without giving away the pussy, right? So we're constantly trying to swap that in that Temple of Doom. You know what I mean? You can't take something without ever paying for it. Emotionally, physically, financially, whatever it is, right? We're both bluff. There's two people at a cards game, both bluffing till infinity, right? And then it's like, I don't know. A lot of people think we're cooked as a society. A lot of people think we're never gonna mend the damage that social media has done to these women and men, in terms of these feedback echo chambers that are prompted by brands, right? The dumbest shit gets promoted to the top, and a lot of people check out. I think more people are going to start hopping off social media or just sharing a photo here and not really engaging with anybody. We're more and more walking down this it's the, and when I said MySpace, I feel like it's the death of MySpace is the death of these social media companies in general, right? It's not cool to go on MySpace anymore. It's not cool really to go on Twitter, other than, or X nowadays, to see breaking news. It's a news format. No one really hops on news sites anymore. But when I go on Instagram, it's a lot of fucking bots, right?